This podcast is a proud member of the Paranormality Podcast Network.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to I have a strange story
podcast.
I'm Lindsey.
I'm Rebekah.
And this is the podcast where two sisters retell people's strange and paranormal stories and experiences that we believe are real.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
This is episode 101.
Yes. Yeah, I've been, oh, dang, girl.
101.
I've been burping the whole time that you've been doing this opening, just silently in my throat, you know?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I know. So hopefully that didn't pick up any, anywhoos.
I don't think it will. I think we're safe here.
Yeah, we're in the triple digits now.
Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
woo. Woo.
It's going to be a little easier to remember the numbers because we're starting over at 1. That's easy.
Yeah, sure.
It'll get hard once we get further up. But yeah, we did it. We made it into the second year, and we're past October, and we're in the week of the election between Trump and Biden. We're in the week. That's where we're recording in 2020.
Yes.
And we don't know who the president is because they're tallying.
Mm-hmm. They're just really dragging their feet about that.
Yeah, we've lived through so many weird elections, man.
Dude, I was just like, this is totally off subject.
Clearly, we talk about paranormal stuff. Sorry.
I mean, time you're listening to us, we do not talk about anything that's going on in our country. Typically, maybe a blurb here and there.
Sometimes, like if something big happens, like
yeah.
Well,
but I was listening. Yeah, I was listening to Rachel Maddow, and she was like, "Can you believe that we're living through this?" And she's like, "It is one of the most craziest elections that we are ever going to live through.
Yeah,
because of the pandemic, and then also because you have one candidate spewing blatant lies about every fucking thing, and then also like trying to get a recount on the ballots and trying to say stop counting the votes, like
filing lawsuits.
Nobody does that.
It's just so interesting.
Oh.
Well, it's been called. It was called today that Biden was projected winner, and they allegedly they started working on a plan for the transition to the White House, but nothing is official. But I think we all know. This is my favorite meme to come out of this, which is really whatever. Anyways, my favorite one was a picture of Wendy Williams staring like intently. And she's like a host, like a TV host or whatever. She's a character. But she was staring intensely. And then it said, this is Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio staring at the rest of the state saying, what the fuck? Because all of those areas, we were completely blue. Like Austin, of course, was blue. And so it was we're mad at the rest of the state because they bring us over to red, but whatever. I just thought it was funny.
It is totally like that in Texas all the time. But it has expanded, at least. Instead, it used to be just Austin, and now it's Houston.
Yeah,
and San Antonio.
I didn't know it was Dallas. I never knew Dallas was blue. And maybe that makes me real ignorant. I didn't think it was. I thought it was red.
There's a lot of rich folks up there. You just don't know which way they're going to go.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Enough about that. What announcements do we have?
Well, I'm going to start with the sad news, you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to start with my friend Cindy died. Aww. Whew. Gonna cry. Not gonna cry. So Cindy was a contributor to the show. But first and foremost, she was my friend. I met her in Austin, and I just met her briefly, but we were Facebook friends, and then we reconnected, mostly through the podcast, because she did, like, find out how weird I was. Because you don't really let your freak flag fly at your job. I mean, unless you have people around you that you can, that you can talk to about this stuff. But generally you don't. So she moved to Arizona after I moved to Colorado, and we just reconnected, and she really liked the show. She was really into it, and she became, to me, a really good friend and a mentor. Like, we talked all the time. And even though I didn't get to see her, it was just so nice to have that friendship with her. She died of pancreatic cancer. The Thursday before her favorite holiday, Halloween. So thank you to everybody that purchased any artwork or the I can't even think of what it's called. There was two. It was Durga, and I can't remember the other one. But the other thing on Redbubble that went towards her fight for cancer. That money is going to be donated to some type of fund, probably in her name, probably for cats. What she fucking loved in life is her cats, or cats in general. She just loved cats so much, and she has 3 Bengal cats that she needs to rehome, that her sister is taking care of right now. Actually, just 2. The other one is going to live with them. So if anybody lives in the LA area and wants a Bengal hybrid cat, get in touch with me and I can get you in touch with her sister. But anyways, I really miss her.
I'm sorry.
If I say anything else, I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Sorry.
So that's okay. So just, this one's for Synde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you again also, everyone, for donating and just thinking of her.
Yeah. It's very nice.
She had one of the first stories that we read.
Yeah.
Didn't she? And it was her, I think she saw a dog man.
Gosh. No, so she had...
I don't. She did.
Nobody's here to back that up. She had this story about her, where she hated her grandmother and she talked shit about her, and then and then something went flying off the wall to try to kill her.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's Synde's story.
I didn't realize that was her story.
Yeah. Yeah, she had another one where she lived in a hotel and she saw that guy with the shotgun or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, so she lived an incredible life. And now that she's gone, I think that I can really talk to you guys about her. Like, one of her jobs for the longest time was touring around with U2 as like some type of manager. So she met all of these amazing bands in the 80s, and she traveled around with them. She met U2 whenever they first started out. Like, her and her brother, they were like, her brother was like, hey, there's this band I think that you would like, and they need some management, whatever, and I think you'd be really good. And she's like, cool, who's the band? And he's like, they're called U2. Like, nobody knew who they were. And so she toured around with them. She met and hung out with like Alice Cooper and Trent Reznor and like all of the cool 80 bands. And there's these great pictures of her whenever she was doing that. And she just had the best fucking stories. So if you couldn't connect her on a paranormal level, you could connect with her on a musical level, because she was she was the raddest girl. And I really wish that we had the opportunity to have her on the show, but we never really talked about that before. But yeah, that's about it for Synde. If anything else comes up, you guys, and if there's a fund or whatever you want to donate to for in her name, I'll let you know. I'm probably going to donate all of the money that we made from Redbubble to a fund in her name. Most likely for cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, sense. Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that she felt passionate about, that she would like. So moving on, I've got another announcement. I have broken my arm.
Your cast, hold it up again.
It's a brace.
It's a brace. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. Yeah. This thing cost me $157.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty fancy. So I have a distal radial fracture in my radius, obviously. And so that means that I can't write with this hand, but I can still work. So typing and whatever. I really wanted just to take 6 weeks off to really find myself. But
I think that never mind. I'll talk about that later. I am going to say, because I think I'm breathing hard and I think everyone's going to be able to hear me. Like, I'm pretty sure I heard whistling in my nostrils. So I just want to put it out there, everybody. I know, okay?
Don't come at us with where's this heavy breathing coming from.
I already know I'm breathing heavy. It's because I'm drinking a beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have an announcement.
What is it?
So during one of our episodes, we talked about weird stuff like that happens, and we were talking about you and a lot of like medical stuff that you have. So I didn't really have anything, but one thing I did have was this sebaceous cyst that comes up on my arm, and we're in luck because it's with us today. But this is the last time because I'm actually getting it removed. So it's been here. It's been with us for about a month.
Mm-hmm. That's glorious. Oh man, if you guys just want to pop over to our YouTube channel, Lindsay's full on showing us. And this is the last time you're going to get to see the cyst.
Yeah. It was pretty painful this time. I don't know what brought it on, but like, I finally went to a dermatologist and they're like, oh yeah, they were excited. They're like, we can't wait to take that out. Dude. But doctors are like, no. It was actually a really bad situation, but yeah. It's going to come out anyways.
Yeah. Dermatologists and veterinary technicians love popping abscesses and cysts. Like it's just the best thing. Yeah.
And I'm taking everybody. So, but I also got this. Oh, wait, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. And then also...
if I go like that?
I mean, that works, too.
Yeah.
Lindsay got... Yeah, go ahead.
It's a Halloween tattoo.
It's very badass.
It's a sorry. Like, it's a Ouija board. It's not a Ouija board.
It's a planchette.
And then it's hovered over the word no.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's really cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Thanks.
It's pretty badass.
Those are my shitty announcements. Sorry.
I had sad announcements. So
I know, and then I was like, I got a thing in my arm.
Now I got a cyst. Now I got a broken arm.
Stupid.
This has been the dumbest year. Anywho.
Oh, geez. Don't even.
Yeah.
Don't even. I'm over here opening my book like I'm going to fucking go first, but it's your turn to go first.
No, it's not. It's your turn.
It's 101, dude.
That is an odd number. That's my turn.
Ha ha ha. Oh, good. My cat passed out.
Oh, thank God. We didn't know if we were going to make it.
Curled up over there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. She was a nightmare.
Yeah, she was pretty intense. So I have a short story with just a little bit of research done. I have to figure this shit out with my hand being busted, you guys. So it's probably not going to be great for a while. Anywho, I've got this experience from Reddit. Okay. And I just want to do a shout out to this person. Hopefully they allow it. I didn't even ask, but they're called a Sixth Sense.
Okay.
And we talked a little bit, and this is just one story of a couple of weird shit that has happened to this person. So I'm going to tell you about one thing that she had weird, and then we're going to talk about it like we always do. Okay? So this is, just for anybody that's new out there, so this is a story about a brother and a sister. So she begins by saying that her brother is a massive skeptic, that he doesn't believe in anything of the paranormal realm, and he always tries to find a scientific explanation for it. So kudos to that guy. Mm-hmm. He says they also share a wall to their bedrooms. So one night she was sleeping and she woke up to the sound of her door opening. And she says she has a diffuser and the light stays on so she doesn't trip and die if she gets up in the middle of the night. So there is a little bit of light in the room. She says as her door opens, she can see a shadow on the wall of something short, and it was just looking in. And at this point, she says she's wide awake, and she is scared to death. She tries to move to get up to see what this shadow was, and she hears a voice in her ear whisper, "No, no, no, no." And so she said it was right in her ear. She was in bed, and she was in bed facing the wall. And each time she tried to move, she says even her toes, it would whisper in her ear, "No, no, 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 no," 4 times. And she says it felt like 10 minutes had passed, and then she heard her door close, and she was able to move again. So, the next morning, she got up, and she was telling her brother what had happened. And her brother said, "You're not going to believe this, but I had the weirdest dream." And Andrew, her brother, then begins to say that there was a little 3-foot tall thing that came into her room, and they saw it walking around, but when it got close to her bed, she got up and tried to punch it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And in the time it took to make contact with it, it had disappeared. She asked him how he knew it was a dream, and he said he's just thinking it was a dream because it was unexplainable. So she asked what time it was, and he said whenever he looked at the clock, it was around 3:30. And then whenever they finally left the room, he said it was around 4:15 a.m. So they said they haven't had anything like that happen again to them. But she does have other experiences. And I think that kind of comes into play with some of the things that I'm going to discuss today. So first of all, Lindsay, what do you think about this?
It sounds like shadow people, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a Graylian?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, Graylian. I'm gonna fucking
TM. Graylian.
Yeah. That's what you think? It's a little one walking around.
Well, to me, it has okay. So if we're seeing the big picture here, she has had paranormal experiences in her life.
You nailed it.
Yes. And what we know, because we're experts,
yes,
is that
come to me with all your paranormal issues.
Lindsay's in the house. What we know about alien experiences is that you have multiple experiences throughout your whole life, and it could be something as simple in quotes as lights in the sky or shadow figures, or something small coming up to you and talking in your ear, and also just the fact that they were trying to make her sit still. I think that says something about maybe they were, I don't want to say experiments, I don't want to say that,
well, they were trying to control her.
They were observing her, and they needed her to be still, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you know if she thought it was aliens?
I didn't ask her what she thought it was.
Okay.
Just kind of what we had talked about was that she has a lot of experiences. Yeah. And so I might be going back to her.
Yeah, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my number one thought, is that, especially with everything coming together, that it is a possible alien experience of some sort. And, but because this thing was so tiny, I wanted to bring up some other little cryptids that I found that kind of fit the description. Okay. In a way.
You better put a fucking puckwudgie in here.
Dude, that's my first. Puckwudgie is my fucking first. I love a puckwudgie. Man, I want to hear a story about a puckwudgie, for God's sake.
I know.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, so yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up, and I highly doubt that this is a puckwudgie because it just doesn't fit the description of what a puckwudgie does.
It's just,
but they're just
whatever.
small. Yeah. So the word puckwudgie is translated into little wild man of the woods that vanishes, and it's a human-like creature that is found in Delaware and Wampanoag folklore, and I don't know where this experiencer is from, so I'm not going to say that they're in this area. But they are sometimes said to be 2 to 3 feet tall. So there you go. That's one reason why I'm going to bring up. So according to legend, puckwudgies can appear and disappear at will. They lure people to their deaths. They use magic. And they launch poison arrows to create fire. So... it was once said that puckwudgies and humans got along too, but something must have happened, and now they're like, "Fuck humans! I want them all to die." One of my favorite paranormal stories was about a guy who was out walking his dog, and he saw a little man on the road, and like they both stopped, like him and his dog stopped, and they were like, "What the hell is that?" And even the dog was like, "I don't want to go anywhere near it." He was like backing up and whimpering and crying. And the puckwudgie, or this being, said something to the man. And it was familiar, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, what it sounded like was, "Come with me." But it was all kind of scrambled together. Uh-huh. And he said that he felt compelled to go, but also really frightened. And ultimately, he didn't go. But that is a type of like luring creature. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was able to speak our language.
Yeah. I'd probably be a puckwudgie, man.
You'd be. So it's either a puckwudgie or a siren for you.
Yeah.
Any way that you can lead people to their death.
To their death. Oh my God. Oh man, my cat's awake and she's looking at me from the bed like this.
She's like, going, "I see you."
She's reaching for me and making that noise.
She's luring you. She's a puckwudgie.
She's so crazy.
Yeah. She's a nut. So I've got 2 more to talk about.
Okay. One
is a duende, and we've talked about this before. I think our friend Saul talked about this. Whenever he was on the show. But so a duende is a creature that is somewhat like a human from Latin American and Filipino folklore. And it is like a possessor of a house. And they're usually just seen as mischievous spirits. And so what I think about duende, and I don't think that what was in this person's room was a duende, because these guys just sound like they're here for the house. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna hide your socks or take your shit or whatever, but not necessarily fuck with you.
Yeah
This
is too intense.
Yes you're right. This is definitely something that the puckwudgie wants you to leave the house and go jump off of a cliff. The duende wants to, I don't know, probably be a dick to you somehow, but probably doesn't want to lead you to your death. The last one is a brownie. The brownie is also a household spirit. It's so cool how these things just intertwine together from different cultures across the world. And how this little house spirit is supposed to be known as like kind of being helpful. So like they can do household chores and farming tasks, and but we are supposed to reward them. So they like cream. They probably like the first cut of bread. I imagine that they're like a lot like the fairy folk or the fae folk. That like also like the first pour of whiskey. I think it's whiskey, or the first pour of whatever. They like whatever the first is that you have. If it's the second, they become a fucking offended and will leave the house and will talk shit about you for the rest of their lives.
They're like, silly.
They are silly.
Brats.
They are. Yeah, and they're supposed to be mischievous, and they also like to pull pranks on people, especially like people that aren't doing their chores. But yeah, they will storm out of your house if you offend them in some way or form. So, but yeah, number one, I feel like this is an alien.
Yeah, it's an alien.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Done. If
Moving
you have a
on.
case you need us to solve, send it to... Oh, wait. I'll tell you at the end.
Oh.
You have to listen to this story.
If you got a problem, I'll solve it. On my DJ result. Forget it. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Did I tell you that I have a new notebook?
You said that fucking last time.
Last time. All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, congratulations.
I have... That's how I said it. I have kind of like, so this isn't a story that somebody gave me that happened to them. This is just like a paranormal experience that did happen.
That's what we do. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't get it from the people firsthand. I found it online.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
Yeah.
We do that too. So this is about some men who went out on a boat and disappeared. And to this day, we don't know where they are.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But the events that occurred before they disappeared are very paranormal. And that's what I want to talk about today.
Is this a like a well-known story?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. So this took place in July of 1968. It was a fishing boat, and it was named El Fausto. I probably said that wrong, and I apologize. But this ship was run by 3 men. 2 of them were brothers, and 1 was their cousin, from what I understand. They're like great on the ship. They know what they're doing. They know about, all the boat stuff. And they've been doing it for a really long time. So they're very experienced fishermen that can handle a lot thrown at them. So on this day, they loaded up the boat with some supplies, and they were taking a trip across the island, or across to another island. So let's see here. I can't remember where the islands were. They're part of the Canary Islands. Okay. I can't read my handwriting. They're part of the Canary Islands, and they're going about 50 miles south to some islands across the way. And they're going there for supplies for the island that they live on. So they make it to their destination. It was about 7 hours to get there. They arrive, they go and they get something to eat before they leave. So as they're heading back to their ship, this man chases them down. This man's name was Julio Garcia, and he is frantically telling them he missed the last ferry. He needs to get back to that part of the Canary Islands that they live on. And he's like, "Can you please take me? My daughter is sick." And so they were like, "Sure, no problem. We'll take you. That's actually where we live. So this is perfect." Because the guy was like, "I'll pay you." And they're like, "You don't even have to pay. Just please get on our ship." So they get on there and they take off. They loaded a bunch of food, basically fruit and water is what they had. But they had some supplies to last them a few days. So they took off about 2:30 a.m. The water was calm. There was a high mist after the sun came up. But everything seemed calm. Like I said, they were experienced sailors. So around 10 a.m., they hadn't arrived back where they were expected. And the wives got a little concerned, but the owner of the boat was like, "It's fine. They know what they're doing. Something, weird must have happened. It's not a big deal." So a few hours later, the families come back and they're like, "Something is wrong if they are not back yet. Like, they're really late." Yeah. And so he's like, "Okay, I'll contact some people." So they start to have some boat searches, and they search for hours. So people are out on their boats, on their ships, and they're going around on their path to see if they can find these people. There's boats, there's planes also that are flying around looking for them. They knew they needed to be found, and if they weren't found, then there was a good possibility that they could die. Mm-hmm. And so they had to get to them as soon as they could. So they took off on July 20th. So right now we're on July 25th.
Oh, no.
So July 25th, the owner of the boat receives a call from a British ship. And the British ship says, hey, we found this boat. It's called El Fausto. Is it your boat? And he's like, that's my boat. There's men on there. And they're like, yeah, they were standing on the hull and they were waving and like waving us to come in. And they're like, so we went. They're like, we went and we spoke to them. They were in good spirits. They said they needed to get back to their family. And they were like, we gave them some food and some water and we gave them fuel. And then they said, we offered to like tow them back in. They were like, we're very concerned for them. They were pretty far out. They shouldn't have been that far out. And they said, but they refused. He said they just kept insisting they were fine, that it was a mechanical issue that they could fix. And all they needed was the fuel and the supplies and they were fine. So the weird thing about this is they're already late.
Yeah.
They're really far out from where they should be. They're about 120 miles away from where they're supposed to be. And this man who got a ride with them, who they confirmed was there on the hall waving, he had a sick kid at home, which is why he went with them. He could have waited for a ferry, but he went with them because it was going to be faster. So the British ship, they were very confused. They didn't understand why they didn't want any help. But all they thought was that it'll be okay. They know what they're doing. They have what they need now. They're going to make it home. So a few days pass and they're still not back. They're still not there. The families, again, get upset because they were all waiting for them. The whole town came to celebrate the ship arriving again. It was a small town and they were real excited they'd made it back. Well, so now they do another search party. So they call the planes back, the boats back. They're going out, looking for this ship. Well, they can't find it. It's nowhere to be found. So about 2 months later, an Italian ship finds El Fausto.
Oh, no.
Real far out in the ocean, way far out, further than it ever should have been. And they're like, holy shit, this isn't good. So the Italian ship goes up to it. They climb aboard. There's nothing on the hull. It's empty, but they said it looked like it was really well taken care of. So they go to look in the engine room and they pull up the hatch. And when they pull up the hatch, they smell something really bad. They look down and there is the man who had flagged the ship down saying, I need to get to my wife and my kid. Oh. He was laying at the bottom. He was naked. He was mummified almost. And he was holding a notebook in his hand. So they get the notebook. They can't really understand what the notebook says. They can't make anything of it. All they know is the front pages have math on it. All of the middle section of the book has been completely ripped out. And then the last page has a letter that appears as if he was writing it to his wife, telling his wife what to do with all of his assets. And then it said, do not tell our son what happened to me.
Oh.
So that's all they can see in the notebook. So they the Italian ship says they're going to tow it into the nearest town. They get to they start towing it in. They bring the book with them on their ship. They start towing the boat in. And as they start going, the ship somehow comes loose, bows under, and immediately sinks down to the bottom of the ocean. And the Italian ship can't get the boat back. They were baffled as to what happened. These were also very experienced sailors, and they couldn't comprehend how in the world that ship became unattached from the tow and just sunk under.
Wow.
So all they had from this was this book. So they call the town, the owner of the ship, because they knew what the name of the ship was. They take the book to him, and the wife looks at the book and says, this is my husband's handwriting. She said this first page is his handwriting, and he did something where he had to write out math, and it was the book that he would do to write the math out. So she confirmed it was his book, and that we don't know what was in that middle section that has been ripped out. Nobody knows where those pages are or what happened to them. But also nobody knows what happened to these men. They don't know if the other men were still on the ship or if they were in another part of the ship dead. They're not quite sure. But they also said that the man who was found was clutching a transition radio or a transistor. When he was trying to read. I laughed because I said transition. So he was clutching that as if he was trying to call for people. There was no other logbook there. And I mean, that's it.
That is a mystery.
That's the story. So nobody knows what happened to these men. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way whatsoever, but one of the first things I thought of was that the first time the boat was found, that they were already dead, and that was their ghosts.
Oh, weird.
I mean, it doesn't make sense that they would want food and water and that stuff, but like that was the only thing I could think of. Like, why in the world did these men not get towed in? And why did they get supplies? Like, and why did the man who had to be home already because of his sick kid not say, please take me? Like, what in the world happened? And so the ship is at the bottom of the ocean and they can't get it. We don't know what happened to those men who are trapped in there. It's just crazy. And to me, it feels paranormal. It feels paranormal, or it feels like evil, like somebody did something evil. And one of the first things I thought when I started reading the story, I was like, for sure this man they picked up was a bad man. Well, he's the one that they found dead.
Mm-hmm. But he was in a mummified state?
Yes.
And how long ago did that happen? Or what was the time span?
Oh, it was 2 months.
Okay, so I guess if you're out at sea for 2 months and you're not drinking water, you could I don't know what happens whenever you die at sea. Like as far as like on a boat, because you don't have the natural properties to break down your body. So does all of your fluids get evaporated? And then somehow you're preserved?
I don't know, man. It seems like it would get real hot in there and that it would be pretty awful.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure. And the thing is that they never got to observe anything. So the men who jumped on the ship, they were just sailors. And the only way they could describe it was he was in a mummified state. But we don't know their experience. You know what I mean? Like, we're not quite sure.
That's
so
true.
The whole thing is just... I just think it's so bizarre. And all I thought was maybe it was a group of men trying to escape their lives as well.
Yeah.
And that they were like, this is it. We're making our break for it. And then the ship kept wrecking. And maybe they didn't want to be towed back because they didn't want to have to go back to their old lives. True. I'm not sure. And they thought they could fix it. Other than that, it's paranormal, dude.
Yeah, it could be anything. So you bring up that you thought that they were ghosts on the ship whenever they flagged... the Italians down, or was it the English?
The Italians were the last ship. The first ship was a British ship,
The British. Okay. So they flagged down the British ship, and you said, I think that they were ghosts. And if they're asking for supplies and fuel, perhaps they did not know that they were dead.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just so sudden or... traumatic that they weren't accepting of what was going on.
This goes back to my original theory that the man they picked up could have done something. Because in the book he said, don't tell my son what I did. Or how I died,
cryptic,
or whatever.
Isn't it? Yeah. Yes. What did he do?
I don't know. Well,
I bet you're right. I bet that they did just take off. This was probably premeditated, right? Like,
I thought
you and your friend go out in a boat, and you're like, oh, we picked up this guy, and so therefore... And at 2:30 in the morning...
Yes.
Who leaves at 2:30 in the morning?
Exactly.
Unless you're drunk or...
And he's like, oh, I had a sick kid.
Well, okay, but so also how... How did they know that guy's story? How do we know he had a sick kid?
The only thing I can think of is the island that they were on. I think of small knit towns. It's a little island, and maybe everybody knew that he was looking for a way out. Maybe the ferry was like, yeah, this guy came and was yelling at us because he missed it, or I don't know. I think that the information could have gotten around somehow.
Okay, so you bring up a very good point, because in just like, I'm no CSI or detective or whatever, but I just feel like if you want to get away with something, you make what you want blatantly obvious to anybody else.
Yeah.
You be that person to be like, I need a ride. I need to get out. Oh my God, it's 2:30 in the morning. I have a sick kid. I gotta go. And you just tell people. And that, in a way, covers your tracks. That's his alibi. He got on this ship because he needed to get the fuck out of there to go see his sick kid. These people, out of the goodness of their hearts, were like, yes, I'll do that. And whether it was they were in cahoots together, and they just decided to take off and leave everything. Like, sailing around the world is not an easy feat. And maybe it was just not organized as well.
Yeah.
And so we'll never know. But the weirdest shit that happens is, okay, so it doesn't make any sense that he doesn't, like, the guy who's desperately trying to get back to his kid doesn't say, we're broke down, take me, whatever, whenever, especially when they offer help. So that's fishy and strange. But but then, I don't know. It's something that happened in that time period from we got help to now I'm a mummy.
Yeah.
Like, that is the weirdest thing. The ocean is full of weird shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
We don't know what's in the ocean, dude.
We don't know.
We know more about space than we do the ocean.
Weird, right?
Is that true?
I don't know.
What I just said. Okay, it sounded
I think,
real
you know
profound.
what? I think that it is slightly better to, I think that it is slightly easier, not easier, but like with astrophysicists and what is that other science? Anyways, I think that with that type of science, it is easier to calculate, like, what minerals and what properties and what else is out there. And with the ocean, you can definitely do that for sure. You know that in the ocean there's salt water, and you can measure how deep it goes. You can't necessarily see what is in the ocean.
Right. We don't know about all those animals and shit, We don't know
about the fucking paranormal stuff out there either.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. And the fish. There's all this, and dead bodies. There's just dead bodies.
I just can't.
I know.
Anyways,
Dead
I
bodies
thought the
and
story,
sharks.
it was real creepy, and I thought paranormal immediately. The first thing I really thought was that was ghosts that they saw. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but like that was just like, honestly, my gut was like, oh my goodness, it was their spirits or whatever.
Yeah.
And that they were already dead when they found them. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, this needs to be on Unsolved Mysteries, and I need this to be solved. Like, they need to go, I don't know, man. It's just so weird, dude. Anyways, that's my story.
That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
That is a very compelling story. It's such a mystery. I love that. Yeah. And you don't know if it's human hijinks or if it's something else that's weird. Nothing makes sense. That's so cool. I love that story.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Anywho.
My
Those are our
cat's got
stories.
a little paw under the door.
Mine was snoring earlier. You may hear that.
Just like, she's perfectly still just with her paw.
She's in there with you. That's cute. That's her way of being with you. Yeah. Anywho, everyone, check us out on YouTube. We have a video. I mean, we post videos about this. It's fun. If you have a story, we believe your story, and we would like to share it with everybody else. So if you have something that's paranormal or weird or strange, send it to ihaveastrangestorypodcast@gmail.com, and we would be honored to retell your story.
Yeah, and if you like our show, please subscribe, rate, and review us. If you give us a review, please give us a nice review. Take a snapshot of it and send it to our email address with your physical mailing address, and we will mail you some stickers. Yeah.
I guess that's it. That's all, folks. I guess until next time.
Bye.